Calling all units, calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.
So that's why I built InkMD, to address a niche, a very real need for medical grade wound care for real wounds. Tattoos are real wounds. I don't understand why we continue to treat them differently. There's just nobody's bridged that gap yet. We're talking about relatively superficial trauma to the skin. The quicker it heals, the better. Especially with tattoos, because the amount of ink that's retained in your skin is dependent on that healing process. Real science, real medicine, with a very ancient and very personal art form.
Jump over inkmd.com and use DSP15 when you want to make a purchase. Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Donut Shop podcast. This week, I have Anthony Nardone, otherwise known on Instagram and social media as Mostly Okay. I kind of found out about him, or I don't know where it was. It was in my feed somewhere. Pretty cool video that's sort of law enforcement related, because Anthony, a musician, used a body cam video of a girl screaming and kind of blended it together into what would be probably something on a record label, at least style wise. So what's up, Anthony? Thank you for coming on the show and joining me on here.
What's going on, man? I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So it's cool. So I'm gonna kick it right off, and I'm gonna bring the video up. It did go viral. It took off. What do you know? What I should have told you to look up the numbers, but you know what the numbers are kind of at right now? I know over the weekend it hit 1 million.
Yeah, I know it hit 1 million within 48 hours, and then right now it's just creeping up. I think the last time I looked at it was like 1.5, but that was earlier today, so I don't know where it's at.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, sometimes it'll pick back up a little bit, and then sometimes it'll just kind of slowly trickle up. But it was pretty cool to watch. I know I shared it. A bunch of my friends shared it. Our media network, Counterculture Inc., sharing it out there. So you were getting a lot of the law enforcement reach then, and it was hitting everywhere. And then guys like Donut Operator picked it up and put it over on Twitter and stuff. So it was pretty cool to see all that run through. And I even told my wife about it, or showed her the video, and she asked me to see the original body cam video footage, which is about 30 minutes long. And it's brutal. It's brutal. So I'm gonna drop this in. Let's take a look at this, and it'll throw us over this way. Not this one. I want to see both of us.
It's not. All of you stupid, fat, fucking white privilege mother! Okay, get take me money, and you do whatever you want. I wish I was a cop so I could shoot all of you. Come out! People are breaking the law. Come out! He didn't use his turn signal.
I mean, there's a lot of rules that it's a great public service message. People need to use their turn signals. That police officers need to remember that people are out there breaking the law. So I mean, she's really into public service and public service announcements.
That's definitely one way to perceive it.
So what got you inspired? Because of your Instagram, which is a lot of you playing music and songs and a few cover songs and stuff, and then some all kinds of riffs and stuff. It's really fun to look at and listen to. But this was one of the first ones that kind of blended that body cam video, that kind of technique.
Yeah, man, it was kind of. I've always liked police videos, and it was kind of like the stars aligning. I bought that guitar that day, and that guitar is specifically for metal. And I bought it because I only have a Telecaster and like a hollow body, and that's more towards of like what Mostly Okay plays, and it's not really all that metal. But I bought this guitar on Facebook Marketplace the same day that video came out, and my brother sent me the video, and it was like 4 hours after it posted, and was like, hey man, this girl's got some gnarly vocals, you should do something to it. And so like I'm on my way to go get that guitar, and then when I come home, it's already in like drop A tuning. And when I come home, I was like, hey, I'll just entertain my brother, I'll do that idea for him, because like this guitar is made for it, it's perfect. And then yeah, I probably made that cover in around like 2 or 3 hours, and I wasn't expecting anything to happen with it. And then like that's the clip that, you know, that's my most viewed clip. I've never had anything even close to a million and a half. So
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's dope. But I mean, and you combined it really well. I'm by no means a musician, and I've sat in on some VIP stuff and listened to fans like really ask the guitarists, like, you know, and I'm a nerd, but like some nerdy stuff about guitars and what they're doing and their style. And I'm just like, man, I don't understand a thing they're saying. And I respect that. Like, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
You know, and I was just happy to be there. But you know, I know it sounds good to me, and I thought it sounded awesome. It was fun, and her voice. I was talking yesterday on the phone about it. Her voice just it takes a lot to be able to achieve that for the amount of time. If you watch the whole 30-minute video of her,
she's a pro. She's an absolute pro.
Screaming like that, and you know. I'm not sure if she could handle an entire tour, a nationwide tour of doing that every night. But I mean, she maintains that level, that octave, kind of that pitch for everything, you know. So, and it would work out. And there's a lot of metal bands that utilize that type of singing, if people don't realize that.
Yeah, and the crazy thing that kind of, I guess, plays into the favor of that video too was that there's a band out there that she actually sounds a lot like. It's a band called Knocked Loose, and they're like one of the biggest in that kind of heavy metal and breakdown metal, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And they're like the biggest thing out right now. And she sounds exactly not exactly like the dude, but like that could be him. And that's like, when you look at the comments, it's all like, when you look at it, it's like the new Knocked Loose sounds awesome. Everybody's referencing Knocked Loose.
Yeah, and the way that comments go a lot of times, especially on Instagram, and it becomes even more entertaining than the videos sometimes, with the way that people you know, make jokes and stuff. So it's like, you know, and the name Knocked Loose almost is like, all right, are they doing a play on the fact that she's kind of like a few screws loose, or like? But yeah, I looked it up as well, and that's the other thing is you've got dudes that sing in that pitch or that tune as well as what she's doing. So I wonder if they've seen that video themselves. You know, that'd be
Oh, man,
funny if they shared it and they were like, hey, maybe we can get her to open. You know, like, get the two of you.
What's wild too is I sat just like you. I sat through that whole video, and it's a hard watch, man. And there's definitely quite a few one-liners in there. But there's actually a video 2 weeks prior that they uploaded of her also being arrested again, and it just seems like this is, you know, I don't want to say anything bad about anybody, but it just seems like this is somewhat normal behavior.
Yeah, I didn't see that one, and yeah, she may have very well been arrested on that one. I'm pretty sure in this one that we're talking about, I think she was going for a psychological evaluation in Florida. We call it, it's a Baker Act. So she might have been going for mental health, and they were able to coax her out of the car under the guise of making a civilian complaint about them, which they did their best to really be as professional as possible.
Oh, they were sweethearts, dude. They were sweethearts. They couldn't have been nicer.
Yeah,
I was so impressed with the main guy with the body cam. I was so impressed with how nice he was being.
Yeah. So, you know, kudos to those guys. I did not do my research either and find out what law enforcement agency they were, because this isn't a video breakdown for the most part. I know a lot of our channels and friends do breakdowns of body cam video, but I didn't really look into that because this is about you. But we were talking before about, you know, watching body cam video and how you've enjoyed that, or it's something that you've looked at and watched, like True TV and law enforcement type, like real life law enforcement, not fictional ones from television, but body cam videos and stuff like that. So, kind of tell me what you were saying about that, and
Yeah.
kind of how.
I mean, even since I was a kid and real TV was a thing, I always liked the world's wildest police videos. And I even like the fictional stuff, dude. I loved Reno 911 when it came out, and
Yeah, the
me
best.
finding out about Reno was, I was like flipping through the channels, and I thought it was cops, and like, I was like in the middle of an episode, I thought it was cops, and I was like, okay, cool, hell yeah, cops. And then it was like Dangle running around in booty shorts, and I was like, what is this department doing?
There's no way this is real life. Yeah.
No, and but yeah, no, I've always kind of been interested in it, man. And it's just wild, to be honest, for me, like as a like, I guess as like a normal citizen, it's just wild, the type of stuff, the situations you guys get put into, to where you could just be responding to like a disturbance or something. Like, you could be removing a rowdy group out of Kroger, and your intention is to just go in there and get these people out, have Kroger be, happy with you,
satisfied.
and, and get these people out of there. And then what I've realized in a lot of these body cam footage videos is that these people most of the time get themselves arrested. And that's what's wild to me, is because they might not necessarily think that they're doing something wrong, and then a police officer will come up, and from the ones I've seen, have been pretty respectful. I'm sure there are cases where it's not as respectful, but the ones I've seen, they're pretty respectful. They go up, and then it's like these people do everything that they can, including like assault on a PO, essentially not leaving this place, and then getting trespassed, and then
going after other customers or managers.
Yeah, and then like, when the cops are trying to like get them out and get them in the right direction, like, God forbid you guys like, put your hand on them, and then they like, rear an elbow back, and like shove, and man, it's all this other stuff. And then I've just realized, it's like, while they're in handcuffs, it's like the whole time you just, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do anything. It's like, dude, you didn't do anything at the beginning. Like, when I came here and I talked to you guys at first, I was just trying to push you guys out. Right.
Yeah.
But like, it's like everything that happened after that, that's why you're in trouble right now. And it's just kind of wild to me, man. I don't know how you guys do it. All the respect goes out to you, but it's honestly, it's like a double-edged sword, man, because I like watching those videos, but they are so frustrating to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, living it is even more frustrating sometimes. But you just you kind of, sometimes you go numb to it, and I'm almost at 20 years completed, and as you do it, depending on your personality, you start to learn that like finesse of like how to approach some people, and one of the ways, especially with the amount of people like this girl that was in that video, so many people are in like some level of a crisis, like where it could be just a minor level of crisis, or it could be a full-blown crisis like she's going through. And there's ways that I kind of get around that, and I kind of approach them, give them some like Disney charm or whatever. And, there's plenty of times where none of that is going to be effective, and you already know that running into it, and you've just got to be one of those, hard charging, almost violent police officers if you have to, because sometimes you need to. But a lot of times you can finesse your way through these and kind of charm the people if you've got the right skills. And I have fun with that, and get myself out of a lot of sticky situations just because of how I talk to some of these people.
And but like that skill that you're talking about, that seems like that's not something that you necessarily can just hop on the job and know how to deal with that situation. It's like you have to like watch, your coworkers do it and see how they do it, come up with your own little style, and then essentially process of elimination from there.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
wild.
It's an amalgam of different personalities that you can, and it takes that type of person. So somebody that's just set in a way and is very proud and prideful and like it's only black and white. They don't do real well, and those are the ones that end up having a problem. They may look great on paper, but when they get out there and they actually start talking to people, it can cause a problem, and it gets
Yeah.
them, in hairy situations. And then some of us have to go and help them out and back them up and get them out of the problem. But that's why I tell a lot of people nowadays, because of the amount of counseling that you have to do. It's not just writing tickets and throwing people in jail. The amount of counseling you have to do. I don't want the 18-year-old, fresh out of high school, coming and being a police officer. I want them going and getting experience in the military, or getting experience just working a job, especially customer service,
Right.
maybe get up to being a manager or something, because some of these places, you are short staffed. You can end up being a manager within the first couple of years. Just learn the company policies and,
Yep.
and supervise employees, people, coworkers, that kind of stuff, because it teaches you some of those interpersonal skills that, you didn't learn, and you may not have learned in high school. So,
Right.
but yeah, it's a crazy job. It's always something different every day. And it's fun. But so, yeah. So you dropped another video yesterday, right? You dropped another mix, that time with, like window shots from like citizens, or like
Yeah.
people, like road rage.
Road rage. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like a road rage video. I didn't queue it up, but yeah, it's another road rage video. So you see yourself, kind of sprinkling this in as a little thing, or
Yeah, man. I
something.
mean, figure it's like kind of strike while the iron's hot, and like
Mhm.
there's clearly a formula to the reason why the other one did so well.
Yeah.
Um, ultimately, man, it's I'm not trying to be like, the next famous internet musician, or I don't even necessarily want to play a show again. But as a
Oh yeah.
musician, somebody that like I've I've played so many shows back in the day. I had a few bands I toured with, and I'm still a musician though. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I
Yeah.
have to make music, and I just want more than just a few people to hear it. And that's really it, man. And it's like I'm a grown up now. I'm not broke in a touring band, and it's like I
Yeah.
can afford to get some cool music videos and recording software and the things I need. And the beautiful thing about this, the Mostly Okay project, to me, is that it's like 100% me,
Hmm.
to where I like, because every band I've been in has been like metal or hardcore, and I love metal and hardcore, but it's like that's not necessarily what I listen to on the daily. I listen to more like kind of post-hardcore, kind of emo, punk
Yeah.
rock type stuff, and that's kind of like that's stayed consistent since middle school. And then like I've kind of phased in and out of metal and
Yeah.
metalcore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now I can just like write the type of music that I've been listening to for the majority of my life, and
Yeah.
that's what's cool about it to me.
Let's take a quick break, and then I want to talk about that some more, and like what you currently are, like the projects you currently work on, and like what people are seeing on your Instagram and stuff. So we'll be right back. Hey guys, I'm sure that there's many of us that are aging, and we've thought about hormone replacement therapy. I visited my doctors and discussed it, and I'm still kind of on the fence and not really sure what I want to do. But now I think I've kind of found it, and I know that we could all use a boost of testosterone in our life. Well, check out the best in the game, Human Performance Team. It connects you with doctors via telehealth, and you could submit your labs that you've maybe already done, or you can get fresh ones done. They offer a variety of services like primary care, urgent care, weight loss, and even mental health. We all know that, these jobs weigh on us and our mental health. Jump over to hptrt.com and use the code DSP for a continuous discount. Use the code DSP and get on a road to better health. Yeah. So with Mostly Okay, it's just you. Like, mixing all that? Like, so when you're playing, or so when there's drums in there in the music, are you playing the drums, or where are you getting the drums from?
So I use samples,
Okay.
um, but I do mix everything and master everything, and you can kind of tell too because from my first song to my last song, the mixes get progressively better, and then I've been
Practice. Yeah.
working. Yeah, it's so tedious, man. It's so hard to just like pick up on your own. And I have like audio engineers back home in Atlanta where I'm from,
Okay.
that I'll be on the phone with and be like, "Hey, man, how do you get the snare to sound so big?" And they'll give me like EQ type stuff. But here for a song that I'm probably going to be releasing in July, I've actually worked with an actual um, a mixing and mastering engineer. His name's Lee Rouse, and he mixed and mastered this one for me. And from there, we've essentially like created a path for me to get better at it myself. That way, if I just need some tweaking, I can send it to him, and it's like minimal work for him because he's a busy dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like the stuff I'm working on now is going to be pretty cool. But yeah, for the most part, man, it's all me, and I like it that way. I've been in bands since I was 14 years old, and I was in a metalcore band that toured a lot for
Yeah, I checked them
10
out.
years.
I was listening to it on iTunes or on Apple Music last night on the way home from the gym and stuff. It's cool. It
Yeah,
was cool. It's
yeah, man.
stuff I listen to. So I was like, oh, this can mix in just fine. But yeah, 2013, 2014
Yeah, man. That's
era.
so I'm 33 now. I'm about to turn 34. So that's when I'm 21,
Yeah.
22. And I'd already been in that band for 6 years at that point.
Wow.
And like we got signed to like a minor label. We got a couple major offers, but they were just terrible offers. So we went with
Yeah.
a minor one that like served us better. And yeah, man, and it's just and I love all my musician friends, man. I really do. And it's really hard to spend 10 weeks in the van with six dudes and not come to hate everybody in their own special little way. But like I
Because
love
everybody's got little quirks and little
oh
things that they
yeah.
do in their own time, and you're all crammed in a van. So
Yeah,
it's like,
man.
how do you get away from each other? Because it's like, all right, I'm gonna go eat. All right, well, I need to go eat. All right, I'm gonna go eat. Well, I'm not hungry. Like
Or it's like man, it gets to like when you get later on in that tour and it's like, oh, this is our first show in New York, or like this is a famous, like we're in a town that's known for like having like the world's best like pizza or something, and then like one of your guys goes to the McDonald's across the street. It's like that's enough to set you off. You're like,
oh
dude,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like this is the spot for it. But
yeah,
no, the hardest thing though, man, is like as like my old band, it was called Face All Fears, and
yeah,
that was my baby. And it was just hard to find five dudes who cared about it as much as I did. And I found one guy, his name's Thomas, and
hmm
he was like a godsend for me at the time. But it's just nice not having to rely on anybody. That's the best part about it. But
yeah.
in my
Being
most
your own boss, basically now.
yeah, in
Yeah.
my most recent music video, it's called The Fall. I
hmm
actually got all my old buddies who had been in Face All Fears. It's kind of interesting too because like they had all been in my band all at different times and they had never met each other. But
Oh,
they were all of that band, and this was like I sent them the tracks, I sent them the tabs. They all learned it. I'm in
yeah,
Virginia right now. I flew back to Atlanta to film it. And then like when we all got together, it was like man, we had been touring for like 10 years. Like it's almost like we picked up where we left off, but nobody knew each other. And then we played and we did the video. And that was like really special to me.
yeah,
Cause like for me, it's like I want if the most that comes out of this is like my grandchild looks at, Paw's resume online and sees that he was the guitarist for a metalcore band, he was like the vocalist of some crazy death metal band, and then he had his own like post-hardcore thing, and it makes him want to pick up a guitar. Like that's enough for me, you know.
Yeah, well, and that's the cool thing about all this social media and the documentation. It can be a bad thing, but for something like that, like this stuff's saved forever. Like my travel vlogs that I did, 7 years ago when I was going through California with my wife are still always there. And it's just like being, back in the 80s when we plug in a home video and it's like, oh, this was our vacation, and it's a horrible handy cam or
Yeah,
big.
yeah, put it on your shoulder.
Yeah. And, like, yeah, those kind of things. Like nowadays we can do that. And that was part of the reasons why I made those videos when we traveled, because I loaded them to YouTube like as we were going, like each night I edited it, and then it was like boom, it was up by like midnight in California, and then my family in the East Coast could watch it when they wake up and they're like, oh, this is great, like it's like we're there along with you. And then my wife and I had fun with it. So, and it's something that we'll be able to look back on in another 10 years, 20 years, be like, oh yeah, remember our trip through California, and actually watch those videos and laugh at ourselves being stupid and stuff.
Yep.
And so you can do the same thing, like in a documentation of this is my music. And then you could probably even pull stuff up, when those grandkids are like, I suck. All right, well, here's a video of me sucking. And then here's me getting better.
And what's kind of wild too, and not to get like too deep, but like, I've lost a family member when I was 17, and man, like it gets to a point where you forget what their voice sounds like. And when you hear it after 10 years or 8 years, you're like, man, I don't remember the voice sounding like that. But like with stuff like this, it's like just the sound of somebody's voice. Even I could be long gone, I could be dead for 20 years, and there's still this catalog of stuff of me for my family to see, kind of, I guess indefinitely until somebody pulls the plug.
On the internet.
That's important to somebody, because like you always find yourself in the situation where it's like, I didn't take enough pictures, I didn't do this, whatever. And then, if you could just like, oh, well, there's a whole channel right here of somebody I love that I could just look at their face, listen to their voice. Like that's also pretty important to me as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a great point. I love it, and I completely agree with you. And then as a photographer, which you are as well, it's great to have that documentation, and then just the practice and the skill, and then to be able to look back and go, man, some of those are some beautiful pictures, and those are ones that I took, not just downloaded or pulled from somewhere. Like those are ones like from my hand, and then my edits maybe when I got back home. It's cool. It's a great YouTube, and all this stuff is a great way to document and maintain it for posterity. And then to look back at some of those things, like people's early days on YouTube. Sometimes I'll be searching something, trying to research and learn about something, and I'll search it on YouTube, and it comes up and it's like 9 years old, and I'm like, a 9-year-old video, and I watch it and I'm like, man, these people's videos just it's not to the quality of what these guys that are teaching about tech or teaching about a task that you're trying to accomplish, that are trying to show you how to work through something technical. Nowadays, the production value is a lot higher than what it was 9-10 years ago. But all that's still on YouTube.
10 years ago, YouTube was just completely different.
Yeah.
Like it was, I feel like in the early aughts, it was really, the internet was in this wild, wild west era. It's like no holds barred, anything goes kind of thing. And then I remember when YouTube came out, it's like, because you'd have to go to like somewhere like newgrounds.com or something, or some like obscure place where there was a media player to watch videos. And then when YouTube happened, it was like nobody thought then that they were going to have a channel that would eventually replace cable and be more popular than cable. I mean, when you look at like what's going on in politics right now, it's like all these new alternative media people, left and right, they're getting more views than the key demographic by hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And like YouTube is where it's happening.
Yep.
So it's so much different than it was back then. It's completely changed the landscape, and honestly, it's for the better. So long as they just keep letting the First Amendment ride, You know?
I remember when we were in college, and I was in college from 2000 to 2004, and Slipknot was whatever, slipknot1.com. And you go there every couple nights, and their website changed, and it was like dead bodies. It was like death and macabre and just crazy maggot, like literal maggot videos, just crawling over dead bodies and stuff. And it was like, that was what was on the internet. We were just in our dorm room going,
yeah, it was easy to like accidentally stumble on snuff back then.
Yeah, for sure.
You would just be going to like somebody would send you a link or something, or you would
Yeah.
just like, I remember actually experimenting with the search bar, like me and one of my homies.
Yeah.
And like, you know, we type in, like, maybe we were looking for smoke bombs, or maybe we were looking for you know, like the stink bombs or something. And you type in like stinkbombs.com or something, and then something just absolutely horrific pulls up, and you're like, get off.
Yeah. The early days of searching blue waffle by accident,
Yeah.
and finding that. But yeah, the internet was a wild place. You know, still kind of wild, but it's really, really tame. Compared to what it was, or at least but I'm always scared of algorithms. I'm afraid to search some things because it's like, and then you just can't get rid of it sometimes. So I just taught my buddy on Instagram, or at work, how to clear his Instagram search thing so that it's like kind of resets, so it's not so messy or weird. And so it kind of goes back to an original fresh.
Yeah, I would love a fresh start of my algorithm, because it's just like, it's just kind of brain dead at this point. I mean, like, there's a few musicians, and like I get like I get a lot of like cute animal videos, just because like me and my fiance send that back and forth all the time. Like, I love animals.
Yeah.
But like some of that stuff I'll miss, but there's just some, it's just like brain rot type material that I'm like, all right, reset. Let's try this one over. Let's build another one.
Yeah. All right, let's take another quick break and throw this other commercial in there, and then I want to kind of ask you about your influences, and then we kind of almost didn't get to where Mostly Okay is going. We talked about it a little bit, but sort of where you're going with it. So we'll be right back. Yo, what's up, everybody? I want to let you know I have a new website format. Same website, donutshoppodcast.com. But this time I'm running it through Shopify. Make it much easier to purchase items, because aside from the hats that I have up there, Donut Shop Podcast, PVC hats, the blue line snapback, laser mesh, nice and clean on the inside, comfy hats, I have some other swag, t-shirts, can koozies, just some other stuff that I put up there. I'm running the website through Shopify, and so it'll make it real easy for you guys to go on and purchase some stuff and support the show. So thanks for tuning in and following the show, and don't forget donutshoppodcast.com. Thanks. Yeah. So you said you've gone through a lot of progression, kind of way moving in and out, metalcore, but always kind of coming back to the alternative rock, emo, that kind of stuff. And I feel like I'm in there too, the same sort of progression with you. So with Mostly Okay, what would you say the kind of genre it is, or what are you reaching for with it?
It's I'm not gonna sit here and say like it's genre bending, because it's absolutely not. But man, I'm like pulling from kind of all of my
Influences.
Yeah, man.
Inspiration.
Because like I have a couple of slower songs that are definitely not ballads or anything, but like I just have, like, to me it's just kind of like, it's just an amalgamation of everything that I've listened to. So I got, like, when I was in middle school, like it was like right when emo screamo was coming out, and that was, that hit me like a freight train, and I was like obsessed with it. Like bands like Silverstein and Hawthorne Heights and As Cities Burn, Taking Back Sunday, Brand New, all of that stuff. And then the moment I picked up a guitar, and I started to learn, not necessarily those bands, because like the guitars in those bands are actually pretty legit, But like I was like, okay, like Simple Plan, Good Charlotte, like let me play, and like instantly is like I could learn these songs and they're like 4-chord songs. And I was like, well,
Right.
this isn't good enough for me. Like this is not the guitar player I want to be. And then instantly I went to All That Remains, As I Lay Dying, Kill Switch Engage, all that metalcore stuff. And then that's where I wanted to live. And then I just naturally, like, you know, as it happens in your teenage years, you just start to push for the heaviest thing possible. So and then like, you know, eventually graduates into like Behemoth, and then just absolute nonsense. I love Slaughter to Prevail now. I think like Alex Terrible is one of the nastiest vocalists, and it's just heavy music for heavy sake. Doesn't mean it's like crazy. The drums and the vocals are like the most impressive thing about that type of music to me. But yeah, man, most
people always ask me, you know, they're like, how can you listen to that? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, sometimes I may not even understand the words. I'm like, but the vocals are another instrument. But you know, it's a person. It's not a tangible object that's sitting there. But to me, sometimes just because of where the vocals go in the music, I'm like, that's just an instrument. It's just another guitar. You know, for me.
The hardest thing about Mostly Okay for me was I've primarily, so I'm also in a band called Hollower, and it's kind of on like that, I guess you can, death metal. I don't even know what death metal is anymore, but it's just fast, you know, it's just fast, it's crazy. And like we wear, you know, we've been a band since like 2015, like we wear masks and stuff, and it's like you kind of don't know who we are or whatever. But so I was like the guitarist and the singer for Face All Fears, and then I was just the singer for Hollower, and I've only ever done that aggressive type of vocal, but I've always been able to sing somewhat. And the hardest thing for me with Mostly Okay is because I'm sitting on 3 finished songs right now, but I can't. It's so hard to write a vocal melody for me because it's like a new concept. I've never, like, vocal melody for me has always been, all right, I'm going to go low here, or I'm going to do a high scream here, you know. And that's it. Now it's like the vocal melody is like what catches the normal listener first. And that's why people have such a hard time with metal in the first place. Like, how can you listen to this? I was like, first off, like the first time I hear a metal track, I'm not listening to the vocals like at all. I'm listening to the drums first, and then I'm listening for the riffs. And if the riffs are chunky, then like, take me to it, and then I'll get into the vocals. But yeah, it's for me, it's the big struggle has been vocal melody. But yeah, man, like I'm starting to view Mostly Okay a little differently. I thought I wanted to fit in that post-hardcore emo bracket. And what I'm kind of realizing, I was kind of, after like this video went viral or whatever, I was kind of like looking at my page as a product in and of itself. And then there's a couple things I wrote. Like I wrote like a song, like 45 seconds of like, I was listening to Dillinger's like for 2 weeks straight a couple weeks ago, and I was like, I want to write a Dillinger song, so I wrote it and then just put it out. I was like, all right, this is good enough, whatever. And then like I would like remake some old Bayside songs and just kind of do like covers in general. And then now with like that clip going viral, so many people, like hundreds of people, were asking me to put it on Spotify, and I thought that it was just a joke. And then I had somebody reach out and was like, no, you should really put it on Spotify because people really want to listen to it. And I was like, okay, I will. And then like viewing it, still trying to view it as a product. And it was like, I kind of have like the Mostly Okay songs. And then I have this song. I was like, okay, well, this is just me. And this can be like whatever I want it to be, really. So instead of trying to blend like metal and hardcore and punk rock and post-hardcore and emo all into like one song, it's like maybe I could just have like 3 metal songs. Like those are easier for me to write anyway, you know?
Yeah, no, I thought that was interesting because I think I forget how it popped up, or I was searching you on Spotify, just to look at the other, you know, your other products and your other songs, and then I saw that come up, and I saw the album artwork, which was hilarious. You know, it works out perfectly. It's got that, you know, that I Prevail style to it a little bit, with the art that they've used, and but it's short. It's like a minute or whatever, you know. So it's just
the clip that went viral.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
what do you call it? The girl, the
It's called People Are Breaking the Law.
people are breaking the law.
Yeah,
People are
but
breaking the law.
people were like, dude, this needs to go on Spotify. And then I was kind of juggling. I was like, well, do I flesh it out anymore? And then I think I decided I was
Yeah, do
like,
you expound on it? Like,
yeah, and I decided not to because people like it as is. And if
yeah,
they're asking for it as is on like already for it to be streamable, then like that's all it needs to be. I don't want to ruin it, you
because
know?
you can just throw it out there. You can just listen to it in your car and just leave it on. Like you just play that song, and then it just kind
Yeah.
of keeps going, and you kind of
Yeah.
forget where you're at, and you're just like, I don't know if I've heard this once or 7 times.
Right,
And you
right,
just,
right.
and I mean, hell, I mean, if you're getting paid a half of a penny per click or per stream, then those are going to go through a lot faster.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, and I attached it to the video you shot earlier, just when we were experimenting or setting up the studio. I attached it on Instagram, so it's on. You can use it in the background on Instagram now on a reel. So it's cool. Does that happen because you add it, or because it exists in Spotify now?
Yeah, so when you you use like a distribution platform, I use DistroKid.
Uh-huh.
So when you upload a song on DistroKid, they essentially put it out to all the streaming
Oh,
platforms, and then they make it recognizable on TikTok and on YouTube and on Instagram. That way you can like search the song, use it, and it helps with like content ID to where if somebody uses that song, it knows that I'm the owner or somebody else is the owner, and then it like that's how copyrights happen.
that's where. So for my YouTube, I'm probably gonna have to get a link or like a little code to put in my description, so my video doesn't get demonetized on
Well,
YouTube,
if it
because we
dude,
played that whole. I played that whole song or that whole video.
yeah, if you know what, I've never had somebody like use my stuff before, but
Well, I'm about to.
I'm pretty sure like I will get a notification saying like your music has been recognized. Would you
Oh,
like to claim copyright? Because I actually did a cover. I like did like a modern cover of "Hey Jealousy" by the Gin Blossoms,
yep, I heard
and
it. It's good.
thanks. And I modernized it a little bit. You know, like I
Mhm.
added like a little standard tuning breakdown and some riffs in there and stuff. But I wanted to keep it like as close to the original as possible.
Yeah.
And I applied for the cover license, got approved, paid for the license, and then it still got it still had a copyright strike on YouTube. And then I appealed it and then lost the appeal. And I was like, well, I have the documentation, but and then it's YouTube's just like, well, whatever. But it's all right, man. Like I don't want to make money off somebody else's song. I just like the song. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm
And
pretty
you
sure I
and
could do a good job of this song.
and you just like people to be able to hear it, and YouTube crushes it and prevents it from really going out to people, whether you're making money on it or not. They'll
Yeah.
crush it anyways, and they'll prevent it. It doesn't get suggested as easily because of the copyright strike.
Well,
Um,
not necessarily because of the copyright strike. It's just that like if money is being made on that video, it's just it goes to whoever owns the right,
oh,
and it
okay.
and it linked it to some live performance, which I think was owned
Oh,
by like a record label or something. Like
probably a record,
I
always a record
yeah
label. Yeah.
yeah I
So
don't I
how's
don't
that?
know.
So how's that work? How do you apply for a cover license? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, you do through DistroKid and you essentially fill out a form, the song that it's linked to, you apply for a license, you pay for it, and then I guess they contact whoever owns it, gets it approved or not, and then yeah, and then you wait. And I really got lucky with that Hey Jealousy one because I already set a release date for it, but
yeah,
then the license was taking like weeks to get approved, and I was like, man, that date's coming up, and it's not like tons of people were waiting on it or anything, but I wanted to make sure that when it hit like Spotify and YouTube and everything, because I already had a music video for it, I wanted to
yeah.
make sure that I was not going to like get in trouble for it. So, but yeah, it's pretty simple. You just fill out a form.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, 'cause I always wonder, like how, because everybody's always like, oh yeah, this person's gonna get sued, especially like bands and stuff. And I mean, I know like local bands that might play bars and bounce around and do a lot of covers. They're not really you know, they're flying by the seat of their pants. Probably they're not really worried about some, you know, lawyer talent scout showing up to a local dive bar and they're playing somebody else's music.
Right. Well,
You know,
they're
but
making money based on being like the entertainment. It's when you start to
yeah.
get the distribution is when like the legal stuff comes up.
Oh, okay. When you, I know we may only have, you know, 10 more minutes of battery or something like that to stretch out, on your end. But like when you were touring, like where were you? Were you more regional or did you do, like nationwide? Cause you were out of Atlanta at the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um
So were you doing like Southeast venues or?
no, so we were essentially if you were to just cut the states right down the middle, we stayed on the east side, played all those states, Canada, and just up and down and up and down, you know.
Were you touring with anybody like recognizable or,
Yeah, I
you know,
mean, it's
bigger name?
recognizable to me like
Like
we
to you, I mean,
yeah.
like who were you in support of anybody or were you
Yeah.
guys the lead, you know?
No. We were never the lead. But we
Um,
were but like being the you know like cuz you always have the locals that open up the show and
yeah.
then the touring package however many bands are on the package or whatever. But we I played with a band called Thick as Blood actually from Florida.
Okay.
Heavy. So Thick as Blood, my favorite one was a band actually from the 90s, a metalcore band from the 90s, still going to this day called Shai Hulud. Um,
Shia Lou, never heard.
yeah, so actually the guitarist in Newfound Glory was like the vocalist for that band in the 90s. And
Oh, okay.
they're heavy, man, and their guitarist Matt who writes the majority of the music, he's such an innovative dude, but it's such like a niche type of sound that like, you know, they could have gotten bigger if they kind of like I guess like was a little bit more formulaic with it. But I mean, man, like we've played I've played with huge bands, you know, Silverstein, Parkway Drive multiple times, but that's, you know, never on tour with those type of guys, but definitely was good enough and well known enough, at least regionally, to open up on those shows.
Hell
Um,
yeah, that's cool.
so
Yeah, I love I'm a chronic show up at doors open
yeah,
to catch everybody. You know, I'm not being from South Florida, we show up for the main event and that's about it in South Florida, but I'm always a doors opening guy like so when
I've
you say doors open, is that when the bands come on or am I going to have to stand around for a freaking hour and wait for bands to come on? Like, you
yeah.
know, so
Well, I've actually noticed that I played a lot of shows in Florida, man. I've noticed that about Florida, and it's not specific to just Florida, but we've played a lot of shows in Florida where we're like the co-headliner or whatever, and like the big band is the band directly after us, and it'll be like an incredible venue and there'll be like 4 or 5 bands on a bill and then everybody stands outside until the last band and it's
yeah,
infuriating
yeah,
because not only as like you know somebody who's on the road and it's kind of like it's like hey man like whatever the venue's guaranteeing me it's not going to feed me it's just going to put gas in the van to get us to Mississippi tomorrow
yeah,
so if we could sell merch that's food if we can sell a bunch of merch that's food and possibly a hotel tonight
yeah,
so that's kind of rough. But then like when you play these kind of like podunk towns, like you go to Indiana or you go to West Virginia or just somewhere super obscure in Connecticut or something like that, like you see these people that are like you can tell they've been waiting all week for this moment and they're not missing
yeah,
a single note from a single band. And like
totally.
those, like I love those places. But like Florida, man, like and I was born in Florida, man. Like I got so much love for Florida, but like when it comes to the shows, I was like, man, like, is it really cool to hang outside the whole time? I don't think so. It's
Yeah,
hot.
no, it's you know, there's a lot of things about Florida, and one of the things that I always tell people, and to pull law enforcement back into it, like when we talk about protests and stuff, I'd always be like, yeah, you know, Florida really has a tough time with protests. There's a lot better things to do than stand around and carry a sign or scream and yell or potentially get arrested
Yep.
or whatever. You know, you go to the beach, you can go to a theme park, you can go to even to a museum, you can go to a concert, a play, a show, a movie theater.
It's hot.
There's
It's
like,
hot as
and
hell.
then it's hot outside. You know,
Yeah.
it's the outside world is attacking you either via iguanas, mosquitoes, or sunlight. So you know,
Yo,
or
what
even
are those big like cockroach bugs that fly that will get stuck on your walls down there?
yeah, like German cockroaches or giant, just big ass
Yeah.
cockroaches.
I was like
So
every hotel I've ever stayed at near water in Florida, it's like I'll walk in a room, there's like no bugs on the walls. You go to the
yeah.
bathroom, you come back, and there's like one freaking chunky boy just hanging out, and then
Yeah.
flies across the room and disappears, and you're like, oh god, I'm gonna be worried about that all night.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so there's so much to do, and I mean, I can't speak for the people that you know, part of that might go along the lines of outlawing cigarette smoking inside of venues.
Yep.
So everybody's just outside dragging as much as they can, and then we'll come in later. But yeah, it's I don't know, and I'm not always like that because I understand exactly what you said. The support, the reason why you guys are there, you know, or the reason why the opening bands are there is because they're getting brought along for peanuts, or they're almost paying their way
Right.
to be there because of the exposure. And
Yep.
I've found bands through that, via that, like go, because that's the whole idea. You go to see the headliner, and you learn about what the headliner enjoys, or a couple other bands, because like one of my favorite bands, Coheed and Cambria, they bring some of the most obscure weird openers, but
Yep.
they love them, you know.
Right.
That's where I've one of the first times I'd ever seen a band that just doesn't have a singer. They just play songs
Yeah.
with no vocals, and I was like, what? It's Isn't this a rule? But it's not a rule. And there's many bands like that.
That's how I found out about there's like a heavy band called Architects. And
Yeah.
I saw Architects
I mean,
funnily
don't they
enough.
have a lead singer? Or
Yeah. No, they
yeah.
do. But I was just talking about like going and watching all the bands.
Oh, yeah.
So I saw Architects when they were it was their first time in the States, and they're like
Mhm.
huge, but they were playing with Parkway Drive and another. I can't remember who the actual headliner of that show was, but I remember it was at the Masquerade in Atlanta, and it was the first time ever in the US, and I was so impressed by them that like I went and bought one of their CDs, and then fast forward to now, and like Architects is huge, man.
Huge.
Absolutely
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah, it's that happened to me in college. A friend hit me up. He was in Gainesville. I was in Orlando at UCF, and he's like, "Hey, Incubus is playing at House of Blues in Disney. You want to go see him?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, my radio station, I got free tickets, so let's go."
Right.
So we go. Hoobastank is opening for them, and Hoobastank's
Oh,
like, "Yo, this is the first time that we've been on the East Coast." Orlando was their first show, and like we're jamming out. I mean, it's their first
yeah,
album. I'm like,
yeah.
this is freaking. These guys are amazing,
That first
and
album rips, dude.
so good, so
That
good.
first album
And
rips.
the coolest thing is after Incubus, after the show, we walk outside, and all the guys from Hoobastank were all sitting there with duffel bags doing the old school handing out CDs. They were
Yeah,
handing out their first 4 tracks on CDs, and you could get, or they were in like slips, and you get them out, and they had Sharpies, and they were autographing them. So I had like a 4-track CD with from Hoobastank, and it was labeled, and it was all their autographs on it. And I'm like, damn, dude, you know. And then you look fast forward, you know, 4 years, 5 years, like they weren't huge for a long time, but they hit hard, and did really well, you know,
you know
during
what?
those early 2000s.
God bless them for like, you know, making the reason and having that be like
Hmm.
their big money maker. But
Yeah.
if I go my whole life and never hear that song again, I'll be
No.
perfectly
Yeah.
happy. But like Crawling in the Dark was obviously to
Yeah.
me like their absolute banger, and then
Yes. Out of control. I just keep singing out of control.
out of control.
Out of
But
control.
for me,
Yeah.
Running Away, that
Yeah.
was a huge song for me.
So
And
good.
like that whole record is just phenomenal. And then
Yeah.
the only thing I can associate Hoobastank with now is The Reason. And I'm
Yeah.
like, stop, man. They have so many other songs.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same thing for me with like Fallout Boy. Like I could just kind of push away Fallout Boy towards the most recent stuff to go all the way back to Take This to Your Grave. Just brings back so many insane memories because I saw him at least twice in that House of Blues, Orlando area, coming through like, great times.
Even with Green Day, it's like
Yeah.
what's the Green Day song that you hear playing on Marshalls when you're shopping for denim?
Yeah,
It's Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Yeah.
Or Wake Me Up When September Ends. It's like, dude, there was 20 years of Green Day that was just so much better than those two things.
Right.
Like you can just you throw a dart at a discography and pick out a banger.
Yeah. And that probably happens when bands make songs because their label is like, we need you to do X, Y, and Z. And they're, I'm not calling them a sellout, but I'm just saying bands, try to fit into something that their label wants them to do. And then they end up doing it. And then off it goes into the Muzak realm of store CDs.
And that's not to say that you can't progress and that you can't do things to better yourself. Obviously, Green Day is like still an incredible band no matter what. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like something about like what Gwen Stefani did with No Doubt. So like they started off as like a ska punk band, and they were awesome. They were like so good, and like they still play No Doubt on the record, and like not this beat is bananas, No Doubt, or like I still hear Ex-Girlfriend on radio stations, and that song's awesome.
Yeah,
but
that was like my second CD I ever bought, Tragic Kingdom.
Yeah, that's a good one too, man.
Such a great, such great stuff. Early No Doubt and all that. And it was, it's a good time. It's music stuff. I enjoy it, not to the level of probably you can. Where you can probably hear stuff and pick out all different things. Separate all the tunes. To be
honest, though, you probably enjoy it way more than I do, because now that I've been like mixing and stuff, like I'm not even listening to the songs anymore, man. I'm just listening to the mixes, and then I'm just I'm like listening to the snare, like how did they get, what does their EQ curve look like to get the snare to sound like that? And it's like at this point, it's all just technical. But
it's probably me when I watch videos, being a video editor now and stuff, and understanding video edits. And then now when I watch TV commercials, and I'm like, well, that was definitely done by a local, like when you watch car dealerships sometimes, and you're like, oh man, they really could have done better with that drone dolly shot or whatever and stuff. And I understand that, but most people, like you're telling me I would, totally miss it. Completely miss it and just enjoy the overall, just like I enjoy an overall song and not even listening to the lyrics half the time.
Yeah. If you're into like cool cinematography and stuff like that, I believe there's a show on Netflix called Adolescence. I think it's called Adolescence. It's brand new. It was done in the UK, but each episode is around like 45 minutes to 50 minutes, and it's all done in one take. Every single episode.
Ooh.
It's really cool.
Those are fun.
Yeah,
those are fun. They did that in that one, that original Daredevil scene in the Netflix Daredevil series, and then of course Extraction, famous one cut fight scene or whatever. Yeah, man. So I mean, I'm sure we could just BS all night and stuff like that. But this isn't a Joe Rogan episode where we can go for 3 hours. But and then your camera and battery might die. So this is a good point to wrap it. Where else? So mostly okay is where everything's getting pumped through nowadays.
Yep. So it's just mostly okay. OKAY. and then yeah, man, Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer. It's wherever you listen to music, I'm there.
Cool.
I do, do a bunch of covers. I have original music, music videos, just a whole gamut of things, man. Just trying to put stuff out.
Yeah, I mean, I find it fun. Like if you enjoyed the recent weekend's viral video, and then that's why I just kind of like strolled through your feed and checked out all the different stuff. And it's like I told you on the phone, I was enjoying the camera quality, the views, the video quality. Like you put a lot of thought into what you're posting, and I appreciate that, and it looks good, and then the music's good too. So I encourage everybody to go out and check it out at Mostly Okay, with the full word spelled okay, full out, OKAY, and check it out. And yeah, so let's keep it going, have fun with it, and keep it going, and I'll keep sharing it, and I'll get all my friends at Counterculture to share it too. And then maybe you say you're never going to tour, but hey, maybe we can get you out to do a solo set at a future event when we because we do like these Counterculture like live meetups, and it's like a live podcast with like 8 of us to 12 of us on a stage, sort of like on a table with microphones, passing the microphones back and forth, and people are there. Like the last one we did in Jersey City at a brewery,
That's
so
tight.
and we're could branch into the music realm too, and
Yeah, man.
do a show like our guy Tyler. He does Shell Shock probably in October again. We had a big one in October this year that made all of the metal magazines. Is Tyler's event Shell Shock 2. Made a big deal, made a big splash because Kyle Rittenhouse was invited, and all the bands backed out because of cancel culture. So everybody got all upset, and because they're like Evergreen Terrace was the headliner, and then there was a bunch of other like Florida bands that were really good, or that are really good, and they all kind of just got threatened online and sort of got a little nervous about it and backed out. So we ended up with a Slipknot cover band and a System of a Down cover band. It was really good. They were really freaking cool. But
Evergreen Terrace is dope. That would have been sick.
Yeah, just the lead singer is very liberal.
What it is. Yeah, it is what it is.
So all right, man. Well, thank you very much for coming on Donut Shop Podcast, and then I'm gonna drop this on Tuesday, and then we'll be off, man. So good luck to you,
I appreciate it.
And we'll stay in touch.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks a lot. Talk to you later. Just stick around.
All right.
Calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.